I mean, it needs some work, but I mean, the original tastes exactly like that. One boy's a national champion.
How's it going?
Good.
Decent enough drive?
Yeah.
So my name is Bruce Schley, and I bought this car from Dave here about 6 weeks ago.
I'm David Settler. I'm the second owner of the car
When did you buy it?
in '75.
I'm Wayne Schley, Bruce's dad, and one of Dave's friends from high school.
I haven't had it very long. I don't know all that much about it. I know it's a '69.
So you kind of need an expert to come in here.
Yeah.
And we have one for you here, Bob Perkins. Bob, meet Bruce.
Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You know, what you see here is pretty much, you know, how I got it, with the exception that I washed the body. All the rest of the parts are sitting over there on the floor.
Yeah, so Bob will kind of go over the car with you and the parts
Yep.
and see what you got.
And you know, I'll answer anything that I can answer. So
Cool.
Obviously, one of the first things you hunt is rust.
well, the car's got a little bit of rust around the wheel lips there.
So what's the best way to fix the small little rust hole there in this bottom? Do you replace the entire quarter or section it in?
Like this area here, if you have, say, the reproduction quarter panel or a patch panel out of a original rust-free car from California or something, you cut it out and then clean it on both sides, and then somebody that's a good TIG welder, they can butt it up, weld it, and you don't mess up the spot welds.
Right.
Here again is some typical Mustang rust. The rubber gasket in the taillight assembly holds water, and they'll rust out there. But there again, this isn't severe enough where you want to tear out all the spot welds. If you get a new old stock panel and you TIG welder in and you save all the spot welds, you don't have to tear all that stuff apart. Now, if this stuff down in here was all rusty or it was swollen up where the spot welds hold the two panels together, then you pretty much have to cut that out.
Okay.
But I would never break all this stuff apart. You know, it's too nice a car to do that. And see, this side here, there's not even any over in the corner, just right where it held the water on that rubber. Now, right here, it's going to need a little piece put in there. See where the double panel, it got something back in there. But there again, you can cut that there.
Section that out.
Yeah.
What about the inside of the trunk? Did you look here?
It looks really good inside there. I mean, it needs to be cleaned and blasted, but even around the battery, there's no holes from the batteries often would freeze and crack, and then you have rust in the bottom of the quarter panel or the bottom of the floor, and that's probably what happened in the bottom of the quarter over there. Probably got some battery acid down in there.
Yeah. Now, from a blasting standpoint, right, would you like walnut blast it or dry ice blast it?
Well, finished that 71 302, we used baking soda, and with that baking soda, it'll leave the outline marks from the crayon marks on the bare metal. Usually, like around areas where there was some rust, you got to hit it with something that's going to be a little aggressive.
Yeah, I was thinking about, kind of a step one with this is taking it to, a dry ice media blaster and have them just go through the car underneath, get all the grease, the grime, the dirt off, and then coming back after it with, something a bit more abrasing.
The dry ice is terrific on an unrestored car where you're trying to preserve everything but just clean it.
Yeah.
Being that you're going to paint the car, I don't think you need to do the dry ice. You can just do the regular media blasting, and
Is this original paint?
it looks like it to me. Most of it is. That door over there has been replaced, so I know it wasn't original paint, but yeah, this stuff in here is all original paint. It looks, I mean, that's the original KK sticker.
Short for Carcraft, and to the upper right, the consecutive unit number 1740.
Original tag there, it's the original sticker there. So inside the jams is definitely all original paint.
What would you do with those?
They probably clean up pretty good. You know, you can dye the carpet. There's no splits or tears in them. There's some lumpies in there, but they're actually pretty nice.
Oh, you call them lumpies.
Lumpies, whatever.
Bob's from Wisconsin.
And then the steering wheel?
Steering wheel definitely needs a switch. It probably needs to be restored. The wood grain redone.
Odometer reads 53,681.
It's had their first shifter put in there, but they didn't cut around the tongue weld off.
Tiny little pinhole over in that passenger side.
The heater core probably leaked. Like this in here now, I would never replace that stuff. I would work around that and leave the original paint in there and just blend in there. That's And the car was Z-barred, but at least they didn't, well, they did, they put black plugs. Okay, that worked out pretty good. Where they put the wand in there to Z-barred it, they used black plugs, and usually they're white or yellow. Being black, they don't show up, but they got the sticker on there.
I was gonna say, it looks like teeth marks.
There's some scratches on the back of the car here.
Okay, what?
Car was sharing a stall with a horse.
Mm-hmm. Horse bit it right here. That's what the scratch marks are.
This all looks nice up here. This is actually a service replacement bracket. The 69 bracket doesn't have the notch out like that. That's a 71 bracket. I don't know why, but you had the extra cooler, so maybe the cooler was off
Referring to the engine oil cooler.
at one time and they lost the bracket, but it should have the wider bracket up on top. This is actually a finger guard off a Primo. It's not a Mustang one. So you probably need to round one of those up.
So you don't get put your fingers in the
Fan finger guard.
You know, there's only three things you got to know about the fan finger guard.
Yeah. And he's got the original radiator over there, so that's good. Now, the motor, I understand, is not the original motor that came with the car, but I can see there's a lot of original stuff with it. This is an original air cleaner base. It's not a reproduction or anything. The lid's not correct, but that's a 70 base because it's got the provision on the side there for the California emissions, that rubber plug. And this original 69 breather cap, that's a 70 breather cap. See the difference in the style?
Yeah.
And this is a real nice one here. It's an Autolite one, and you can see it's got like a concave or convex top to it. It's not been pushed down and flattened out. That happens a lot. That's an original PCV hose too. That's a really tough piece. That's unique just to this car. Looks like it has the correct water pump and crank pulley on it. That's good. Correct timing pointer. That's probably an original alternator. I can feel the number stamped in there, so the big hypo style pulley on it. So somebody probably took this motor out of a car and had all the attaching bracketry on it, so that's good. Looks like the original dipstick. That's another tough piece. That's Boss 429 only. Okay, you had one lift hook over there. There's a lift hook. Looks like you need to round up one lift hook. And it's got a scatter shield on it, so you probably want to round up a original bell housing and you know, the plug wires and the distributor and header aftermarket shocks, but carburetor's a double pumper. But
Can you tell us, I mean, did you know about the matching numbers on these bosses, how that works? Did you know?
I don't know.
Can you go over that, Bob? Because that's real critical in these cars, right?
on the Boss 429s, the back of the block had the partial VIN stamped, and it would have been 9F, and then it would have the consecutive unit number stamped into it. And then on the upper left-hand ear of the transmission, it'll have that same number stamped into it. Those are what were called partial VINs. I know there's been a lot of blocks and maybe even trannies that over the years, you know, people have not had the original one and they stamp the numbers back in, but there's also on these 429s, there's a Lima engine plant number that's stamped right here on this boss. And then there's a final assembly date stamped right on the front of the block. So a lot of people that we've seen at car shows, you know, we're judging the car and the numbers don't all jive. They'll have a final assembly date of a 70 motor and an early 69 or vice versa. And well, you know, how do you know that? Well, there's a log book out there that also tells like the Lima engine plant number that's on this boss here. And I can look up the KK number of the car, and then I can cross that over to the Lima engine plant numbers. They serialized all the numbers at the Lima engine plant to see if that number matches when the car and the block was shipped to the car craft plant. It's all in a logbook. So,
Right.
So you can narrow it down if you really want to prove to yourself that I've got the original motor in the car. But as far as just having the VIN on the back of the block, that doesn't prove a whole lot on the Boss 429.
You know, most cars, when they tell me it's numbers matching, it's like, yeah, I bet it. You know.
Well, the numbers are matching, but unless they say it's the motor, the block that the car was born with, it don't mean anything.
Right.
So, you know, you got to be careful with that stuff. And to some people, it's very, very important. To other people, just if it's numbers matching, that's good enough for them. They don't care if it was the original block as long as it's date coded correctly and it has that VIN number on there, that's good enough for them. And even like in the Mustang Club and your regular Conquerors classes, that's all we care about. We're not gonna take people's cars apart to find date codes underneath the intake. Still, it's important. I'm trying to not to downplay the importance.
Oh, real numbers cars are an amazing thing. I just
Yeah.
think that, especially as the values have gone nuts.
Can you tell us what happened to the original motor? Did you blow it up the motor or what?
When I bought the car, it had a Cleveland in it. This is a engine I put in. Actually, Wayne found it for me 50 years ago, 45 years ago, whatever, and I put this in here.
Did you ask him what happened to the motor?
No, I never asked around. At that time,
As far as we don't know, this might be the motor that was in the car, because
the
there
motor
was
came
sure few of
within,
them.
20 miles of where the car I bought.
So what'd you give for it?
I can't remember.
I think 1,000, I think.
Then
You
can
gotta
buy-
remember the whole car was probably worth $6,000.
What'd you give for the car back then? It's so far ago. I mean, it's going to be funny.
The car with the Cleveland in it, the guy wanted $850 for it, and the window cranked out of the door, and he said, well, it cost me $50 to get that fixed. So he said, sell it to you for $800. The guy had the engine, had a Trino, he put the engine together, went to put it in, it wouldn't fit. So then I called him and gave him an offer on it, and he said, nah, I don't want to sell it for that. And I saw it ad in the paper again, so I called him up again. He said, oh, I broke my leg, I really need some money. He said, I'll take the original offer I gave him, so
What was that? I forgot.
$1,000.
Well, that's more than you paid for the car, though.
Yeah.
And now you could take that same $1,000 and buy a radiator cap.
Yes.
Now, this is the wrong cap, but if you think we're kidding about the stock Boss 429 cap,
Number,
this is live. Watch it.
see number in there?
This is the Cobra
Original
Jet.
parts then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see no number on the side strap on this one. It's got Tomoco on the top here.
Bob's about to discover this original radiator cap. He hasn't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's got the Tomoco. Okay, this one's got the original Dearborn radiator cap. Now that's a really tough piece. This was an assembly line only cap. You couldn't buy these over the counter, so people are actually taking these apart and restoring them.
Yeah.
Huh.
I've seen them for like $900.
Hey,
Yeah.
Bruce heard that. $900 for a cap. David gave $800 for the whole car.
don't you love it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
that's a
But this is
$5
what makes
piece.
a hobby fun.
That I'd put up somewhere.
You better save that.
Here,
Bruce.
we'll put it on here.
Boss 429 radiator that did come with this car.
But it's got the Tomoco on the top.
So that went to what engine did that go to then, that cap?
Anything 69 Mustang that was Dearborn built.
Okay, so he put the cap on the Boss 429 radiator down here. So
Well,
now,
that's
now you've got that. Would you have even ventured a guess at that?
No.
What's the radiator cap worth?
This one here, well, it's probably worth 300 just the way it is, but it'll cost you a couple hundred to get it rebuilt. But when they're all done and nice, you'll see people asking $600, $700, $800 for them. And if it's a brand new one where it hasn't been taken apart, then you're in that $800, $900.
That's crazy.
Because you could never buy one. Say in 1971 you needed a radiator cap, you could get an Autolite cap, but it wouldn't be the Dearborn style like that, where it's got the little baby, I call it the baby, the real small rivet in it. They usually have a bigger brass rivet in them, and it's a service cap. So these guys that are really concourse oriented, that's a big deal. I mean, people at car shows, like we just took my 71 Boss 302 to the Boss Nationals, and I stuck a repo cap on there because we've taken a couple cars to shows, and come back the next day and somebody twists the cap off and walked off with it, and there you go. There goes your last $500 cap you had for the car.
Yeah.
You know,
So, what looks like junk could be treasure.
this here's the original power steering pump with all the brackets, and the hoses was all taken off as an assembly. That's nice. I noticed there was traction bars on the car. Those are the original staggered shock plates. Those are the same as a 428 Cobra Jet or a Boss 302. Those are important. Nice piece to have. The original washer bottle. The other one here, that looks like an original Autolite shock for the rear. The other one's in there or not.
Collectors rebuild these shocks, and they are valuable.
But
You want
that,
me to grab a table so we can set this stuff out as you're pulling it out?
Yeah, if
Sounds
you'd
good.
like to do it that way, sure.
Sweet.
Is that the original carburetor?
No, that's a 71 Super Cobra Jet carburetor.
Not the stock unit for a Boss 429, but very valuable.
Now,
What about this?
this looks like that may not be the original chunk.
Yeah, it's
I,
a 391 gear that came out of a Super Cobra Jet.
Not stock for a Boss 429,
well,
but
the gears are the correct gears. They're 391s.
The car there has 457s in it.
Okay.
In 3 weeks, there can't be any car parts up here.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm gonna start manufacturing food products.
Yeah.
So,
This here, that's the shifter and the mounting plate that goes onto the transmission to mount it, and all the rods are still connected. This is the original handle, but obviously a new knob, different knob, but the handle's the original one.
Now, one reason we're looking at these Boss 429 parts are notoriously super expensive, right?
Well, some of them are. Some of them are just common 69 Mustang part. Not everything on a Boss 429 is unique to a Boss 429. The power steering stuff is quite unique. The pulley and the bracketry is unique.
What do we got here?
This is an engine lift hook. There should be 3 of those with the car. Okay, that's an original exhaust hanger. There should be a left and a right. They're just reversed.
That's going to be unique, right?
No, that's the same as any 69's dual exhaust Mustang. This is the original spare tire hold down. That's an original 69 washer bottle, not unique to the Boss, but still a tough piece to find. That's an interior dash piece.
okay.
So that would go with that. That's part of a door panel cup, but it should be a black one. So that's probably off a different car. Yeah. This would be part of the rear seat package tray area. That's the clip.
Oh, to hold
the sun visor, or the sun visors.
you think you said, are these the original calipers for the front of the car?
Yep. See, now those are not unique to the Boss 429. Anything 68 to 73 Mustang will be the
Yeah.
same caliper,
Okay.
but they're rebuildable.
When I was driving it, I replaced the calipers.
Did they have any of the original tires on it when you got it?
No.
No. That's front headlight buckets and the grille and the headlight assemblies. Well, that's just a standard 69 Mustang grille assembly with the 2 headlight buckets and the grille in there. And,
So is this no different than any other fastback?
no.
But it'll have a valence on it that's different.
Yeah, there's a new old stock front valance here, the red primered one in the bag. Tire problem.
And that's the valence right there
Well, that's a new old stock one. I don't know. If
that he just pushed back there, you mean?
Yeah,
This is the original spoiler was broken.
yeah. One door, the deck lid.
This is the original deck lid. It's got the
Yeah, got the light. It's got a little rust in the seam here on the corner. Did it sit outside a little bit for a while or
no, but it shared a barn with hay.
Okay.
Are you a farmer?
No, my daughter has horses.
Another oil cooler. Yep. Now that's not unique to the Boss 429.
engine oil cooler.
The Boss 302 with the 430 rear axle ratio used it. The 428 Cobra Jet Mustangs and Torino used it, so that has a wide range of application.
There's the original back here.
Yeah, that's the original.
Sure. See, I'll show you on the side strap here, it'll have the date code and the engineering number. Okay, it's a C8ZE. And then here's the date. I don't have my glasses on me. Somebody read the date there. It'll be like a numeral and 2 letters. Probably like 9EA or something.
It's like CA something, I can't read that.
It should be a number in front of the CA. Like 9CA. That would be
9CA.
That would be coincide right with the date on the car.
Okay.
17.
What's the date on the car?
Well, it's KK 1740, so that's probably, April, May area.
I pulled the Marty report, I think it was built in May.
Are these the original seats?
Yeah.
You have an original comfort weave. The reproduction seat covers, it's a fake comfort weave. It's just like pressed in there. It's not real comfort weave. And those look really nice. Those seats will clean up really well.
I noticed that like even the foam under the bolsters isn't compressed yet.
Yeah, no, it's really nice and puffy here. And I always look at that. And when you get in on the driver's side, this side's usually beat down. And
He's not a real heavy person. You probably didn't ruin the seats, right?
Yeah.
You didn't press down that foam
No.
too bad. Yeah, turn them that way, yeah.
Try to minimize the future body work.
So what do we say about this?
well, the original Boss 429 fenders with the really tight rolled lip. Well, the first thing on a Boss 429 fender, you can see the tire caught it a little bit there, but see how it's rolled around? There's actually a piece of metal rod in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can see it hanging out on the end. See now, Boss 302, it's rolled, but it doesn't have the metal rod in there. They didn't roll it as tight. These are tough to make, the Boss 302 ones. I can make one in about 15 minutes, but these are tough to make.
What do you mean make one?
Roll the lip
Oh,
off a standard one.
I never thought about putting a piece of wiring when I've rolled fenders before.
Yeah.
so when he restores this, he doesn't have to roll the lip. It's ready now.
Yeah, it's ready to go. Yeah, it's
What about this rust here at the bottom?
that's just surface rust. That's
Oh.
nothing.
Nothing. So these are good fenders?
Yep, they need got a couple little dings in there, but that's all repairable.
Yeah, I see it. What about the black color? What can you tell him about that? The rarity or desirability and stuff? Or?
Well, on the 69, there's no doubt black's the most desirable color.
That I did know. I looked at the kind of the basic stats that you can find, the various colors, the number of cars made in total.
The air cleaner snorkel for 69 Boss 429, it's an original one. Still has the original spec decal on it, unique to the Boss 429 only. Usually they're about that long. You can see how long that is to clear the valve cover. So that's a Boss 429 only. That's a really good piece. That's probably, if you had to buy one, the reproductions are about $1,200 for the good one. And one like this would probably be around $3,000, $3,500. So that's a really good piece. Really tough piece to find a original paint one that's not been messed with.
Dave's got a fun story about the original air cleaner housing and a bunch of other parts on the car.
Well,
Tell them the story.
somebody broke into my garage and stole the air cleaner that went with that, exhaust manifolds, master cylinder, and a few other parts. And
I'd say they were in there quite a while if they had to
Yeah.
unbolt that stuff.
Did
Yeah,
you get it
so-
back?
no, never got it back. I replaced the parts that I have. This got headers on it now instead of replacing the manifolds.
This isn't the snorkel that came with the car?
That's the one that came with the
Yeah,
car.
because
That's
that'd be
they
hard to
didn't
find
that.
another one. Yeah, that'd
They
be
didn't
tough.
find it when they were going through the garage.
That's good. Here's the space saver tire. That's the original inflator bottle, the original spring to hold it in there. This is a tough piece too.
I was wondering, I've never seen one of those on a car.
Well, they're supposed to have them, but most of them don't. You know, a lot of people think they didn't come with them, and I'll tell you, the way you can tell an original one, they have those two yellow tracer stripes in the material.
Oh.
See, the reproductions won't have those little stripes in there, and the material's a little bit different. So that's a neat piece. And what you can do with that, if you just blow it off good, vacuum it, and get you a gallon of wax and grease remover, and just soak it in there and pull it out, blow it off, and it'll take most of the staining out of it. It won't hurt the stripes or the material at all. It's kind of like your build sheet. If you want to clean the build sheet, wax and grease remover will take any of the stains out of it from the tar paper underlayment. It works really good on those felt pads.
That's cool.
So that's a really nice piece. That's one of those kind of like the battery vent caps. Nobody ever has. Very rarely do they have. These are new old stock hood hinges. Now see, these are going to be 70 style hinges. They don't have the cross hatches in the rivets. If you look at the original ones, if they're around here somewhere,
No, I don't.
when they put them together, they pressed them when they had like a cross hatch in them. So these are service hinges. Extra parking lamps here. These are the covers for the front coil springs. Those are unique to the Boss 429 only because everything was shortened up. That's not the correct fan.
No, that was one of the parts that got stolen, was the correct fan.
Yeah.
And then Dave was telling me the wheels are original too, which I
They-
think is
they
pretty
are.
amazing for the chrome is in really good shape.
Well, they are. And see, the Boss 429, this Magnum is unique only to the 69 Boss 429. This is made by Motor Wheel Company over in Lansing. And on the back side, they have no Ford logo. They're highly polished chrome. So the Boss 302 and the 70 Boss 429 have satin. And then this has what we call the large hole. And that's why the cap like this works, where it's got the backing plate on it. The 71 Mustang, the later wheels, they also have the large hole, but they have the satin spokes. They also say Ford on the back. So these are really tough wheels. They came right from Motor Wheel Company. Ford didn't do anything with them.
My name is David Settler. I bought this car in 1974, and I bought it for $800.
So my name's Bruce Schley. I bought this car from Dave Settler in 2023, and I paid more than $800.